join me in welcoming this year's Lifetime Achievement Honoree, Dr. Elba Garcia, Lifetime Champion Honoree, Sharon, and this year's Women of Distinction, Shonn Brown and Connie O'Neill. Thank you so much, ladies. I think some of them stood up for you. That was pretty impressive. And thank you for your inspiring words. I heard folks cheering as we were getting started. So you were all really selected to be this year's honorees because you have each made sure to find the time to make the commitment to be a force for good in our community. And so as we start our panel, let's start with our first question about what has been your inspiration. What has really driven you to be that role model and mentor for girls and women and step up for those around you? Dr. Garcia, let's start with you.
Well, if we look through history, we know that nothing has been given to women. From the women's right to vote all the way to equal pay in 1963, the reality is we have been in the forefront for advancement for women. So when I look at this audience, when I see all these young women ready, prepared, with the confidence and the vision to be the leaders and create the communities of the future, I feel very proud. And I want to thank the Girl Scouts for doing this award, because for all of us, I think it's an honor to be here. Women, we know, are the pillars of the community, the pillars of the family. And when you educate a woman, you educate a community and a county and a state. So, muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
Yeah, so that question immediately made me think of my grandmother and a number of strong women in my family. So I was raised by my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, but though my mom was really also in my life, my aunts and many women in the community, in the neighborhood, were very much a part of my foundation. And I think that that is how I've continued to live my life, even with my own children and just that community. And it was very common for us to have food for the neighborhood at our house, or individuals, if they needed somewhere to eat, if their washing machine went out, we were just the community house. And so I learned service from it being poured into me, but also in it being demonstrated by the community of women that really surrounded and loved me.
Incredible. Connie, how about you?
Well, first of all, I'm so honored to be with these three other women on stage. I think what has inspired me, I think about the opportunities that I've had, and I've had mentors all along the way in my path. And so for me to try and reach out and pay that forward and be a mentor to someone else. And I think mentorship is about that personal one-on-one relationship where someone really cares enough about you to help you, to guide you, to give you advice. And some of that advice doesn't necessarily have to be all the things you should be doing, but sharing some of the things that you did wrong, so to help them not make the same mistakes maybe that you did. But I'm so lucky. I have mentors older than me. I have mentors younger than me. Many of them are in the room today that have helped me, and I hope that I can somehow pay that forward a little bit.
Sharon, how about you?
Well, it's wonderful to be recognized as a role model and mentor. But when I first started volunteering right out of college, it was through a woman mentor in my workplace. But we worked together in a low-income housing project in Atlanta in the shadow of Georgia Tech University. And I learned there how much opportunity I just had been given, and that the girls I worked with and volunteered with had not that same opportunity. It was divided by class, by economy, the whole economy of scale, the color of their skin, where they lived. And so even more than a role model and a mentor, I decided I really need to be an advocate. They needed an advocate. So along the way, as you mature yourself, you learn that there's also other ways to give back. Speaking out, but also speaking up with them and walking with them. It's been very important, and I think it helps all girls, and subsequently women, to do that.
I love how you all have this common theme of paying it forward, of the experiences that you've had as a young girl and how you're doing that today. I love that. That's a great example for all of us to really reflect on. How have you actually used your voice or your story or your background to create change for girls and women and ensure that their voice can also be heard at the table? Sharon, let's start with you.
Well, I was very lucky. I started my early volunteer career with Girls Inc. This was the housing project in Atlanta. And I progressed through some leadership roles, which not only helped the girls I hope that I work with, but helped me develop so I could be an effective leader. And I wanted to give back because on the shoulders of those girls stood someone like myself who was trying to reach back and bring them along. And I think that's the message today. Don't forget where you came from and help a girl see where she's going or she won't get there. And I think to use any kind of platform that each of us has, and we have our own platform, is to get out there and speak and be that. And do raise your voice and know the facts. Know your stuff before you speak.
Know your stuff. Do you agree with that? Connie, do you want to build on that comment?
I do agree with that so much. I think one of the opportunities I've had is serving on some nonprofit boards is to be a part of diversifying those boards with more women. There's been a lot of research that has gone on that shows that women add so much value to a board, whether that's nonprofit or a for-profit board. We bring a diversity of thought. We bring collaboration, problem solving. There's a lot of research that shows that women are more focused on risk management. So bringing those talents to the board can make for such a better decision-making process on those boards. And I've been fortunate enough, one of the ones that I was had an opportunity is to be one of the new women of the Salesmanship Club, and just to have that opportunity, the men were so welcoming to us three that joined, but really wanted to see and understand and appreciated what we brought to the table. So it's just been a really great experience. But I think it's so critical that there are so many opportunities now, and I really encourage women to get involved and exercise their leadership in those organizations.
Thank you for that advice. And Shonn, what would you like to add?
Yeah, so like Elise and Bridget, I'm a lawyer, so I'm excited to have seen Mike Boone be recognized today because it continues to be a space that we need to pour in. And I had the opportunity to help do something about that as well as another male lawyer and I were talking about the lack of women and the longevity in the practice of law. What's interesting about that is that over 50% of law students and graduates are women. And so in leadership roles, at where along the way, partnership, general counsel, leaders in the organization, we lose them. So we developed a curriculum for a program for women lawyers for 8 to 15 years of practice, which is kind of that critical moment where you're very skilled, you know what you're doing, but you're not getting the opportunity and maybe not knowing how to appropriately use your voice. At the same time, I actually was the chair of the Texas Women's Foundation board, and we developed a program called the Women's Leadership Institute, where we created a curriculum because we realized, of course, my experience is lived in the law, but it was a cross-industry area where we were really teaching women how to get visibility in their organizations, how to identify sponsors, and also bringing men to the table to participate in those conversations, to be part of the solution, similar to kind of some of the Mary Ann Cree young women talked about. Help her out, give her a start. And so that's what those two programs were really designed to do.
That's very impressive. And yes.
Doctor? As an immigrant to this country, I know firsthand the battles that immigrants face when they arrive to a different country, to a different culture. So I knew when I got elected to the Dallas City Council and to the Dallas County Commissioner that my voice had to be used to be sure that women and women of color were represented in every single board and commissions, that our voices as women and minorities were heard loud and clear. We bring to the table not only the nurturing, but we also bring families with us. And like I always say, we bring a different voice into a table. So my voice had to be used to be sure we were represented. And last but not least, I have to say that I want to be sure now that I am in the position to go ahead and make the decisions. Ladies, we have to continue to get involved. We are over 52% of the voters in this country. And then again, we only have like a 30% of women elected to office. So, and that goes even lower when we talk about women of color. So I know that the next generation is being here mentored and being here educated to take the lead for the next generations to come.
Very inspiring. Thank you, ladies. the ladies in the room and the men who are man enough to be a Girl Scout, right? So thank you. We need those advocates as well. I'd like to talk about what advice would you give to the girls to be that are facing the biggest challenges today? So we heard from the girls, they talked about their challenges, social media, having the confidence, the standards that they have today. What advice would you give to them?
Well, I think today is probably the hardest time to be a woman. You mentioned some of those. It's the social media. It is the dual household incomes. Many women are working. While they're working, they're balancing their home life. They're trying to be a good wife. They're helping with their parents. They want to be the perfect mother. They want to find time to volunteer in their children's school and do homework. And the list is just endless, and then bombarded with social media. And, no one posts at night when they're sitting at home eating a pizza. It's always about wonderful trips, etc. And so I would say to women today that no one is perfect, and it's okay to take some time for yourself and fill your cup back up. And you don't have to realize it all today. There's time to as you go through generations in your life, to realize and experience different things. But it's so critical to fill up that cup with some time to nurture yourself and your needs. I look at the organizations I was involved in. Junior League of Dallas has been critical in my life. Crystal Charity Ball, the women that I've met in those organizations have become my very best friends. And we are each other's therapists, we're each other's listeners, we're each other's best friends. And I think those relationships, as we go through and try and excel in everything we do, how critical women-to-women relationships are. We talk to each other, and we're much more open and caring about our friends, and those talks and those friendships are really important. So I think it's just enjoying the journey and realizing that every day is a gift to us.
Great advice. Thank you, Connie. Like to jump in, Shonn?
I would build on that and wholeheartedly agree about this idea of perfectionism, which I think we have to get away from. But the way I would really talk about it is to give yourself grace and get out of your own head. So I do think, as we think about the social media challenges that were brought up, what's real and what's not is very difficult to discern at this moment. And so I think what we really have to do, and what young girls have to do, is allow themselves the space to figure it out. And if you don't get it right the first time, then continue to try. And I think what's incumbent upon me, and old habits die hard, so I'm going to answer a question you didn't ask, but trial lawyer, old habits. But I also think it's incumbent upon me, upon us, and other women to demonstrate, as Connie said, talk about those failures that you've had. Talk about those nights when you almost didn't make. We need to share the things behind the resume, because when someone gets up and they read all the things they've accomplished, the things that you don't see are the things that they went through to get there, and those are why they actually overcame and were able to accomplish those things. That is the most important lesson. And so I think giving yourself that grace, and then I would echo the sisterhood, because all of us are achievers, all of us want to win, and we all want to win now. But sometimes you don't have the stamina, you run out of steam, you're exhausted, and that's when your sisters can hold you up, or they can keep running the race and you can take a seat.
That's awesome. Anything to add, ladies?
I want to just add something, because Shonn really opened the door to this. I think it's important for girls to know it's okay to fail. If they're not out there trying, they're not going to have that learning experience in failure. And you called it grace. I think that's it. Also, I do appreciate social media, constant communication for our young people, not just our girls, but our boys also. But I do think we have to teach ourselves and we can help young girls not to be so critical, not to be on the defensive, but to stand up proud and tall and learn to compete. Girls often hang back and they don't compete until they learn something, they've mastered a skill. But the guys, oh, God love them, they go out there and just give it everything they've got. In order to create that space for us, not only that voice and place at the table, but we need to compete. May fail, but you've learned. Don't hold back.
Very nice. Speaking of failure, let's talk about that a little bit more deeply. Can you tell us about a time when you were afraid to fail, something that you faced, maybe imposter syndrome, as the girls mentioned earlier, and what did you do to overcome it? Was it the network? Was it your sisterhood? Let's hear about, this is the juicy stuff people really want to know about.
Uh-oh.
So let's get into it.
I do have to say that the advice that I will give to young girls today is pretty much, surround yourself with positive people. It's okay not to be in social media 24 hours. And more importantly, it's okay to say, I'm not okay and I need help. Take care of your health. It's extremely important. And as a dentist, I have to tell you, be sure that you smile. A smile will take you a long way and makes people welcome. So don't forget that. That's in a nutshell, what I recommend you to have a positive attitude.
Positivity, smile, no matter what.
That's right. And, don't forget to floss and brush. But anyway, with that.
Way to go.
With that, when I been scared probably was when I immigrated to this country. I have met Prince Charming, which is here today, and he was from a place called Oak Cliff in Dallas. And I was all excited about the future, about coming to a new country. My biggest challenge was, of course, to learn English. So I knew I had to go back to school, start from English 101 at El Centro College, and then had to go back to dental school. I was already a dentist in Mexico, but I knew that I had to go back to dental school in order to be able to practice here in the United States. And I think that was the time when I really feared for the future. I wanted my kids to be so proud of me. And that came as, I have to do this. I cannot afford to fail. And that's when, you start going out, you start to making those friends and that support that really helped me to overcome the fear and be sure that I was going to do it. And it came out from men and women in my family and obviously in the community who believed in me and knew I could make it.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Well, a little peek behind the curtain. I think I still have imposter syndrome. I don't know if you all, but in college, every time I'd walk in a course and the professor would pull out the syllabus, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the course I'm going to fail. I just will not make it through this one. And you did. And so I think my philosophy is surrounding yourself with people that are smarter and better than you. And you can't do it yourself, but if you have a team of people that are around and you work as a team, that's when you accomplish everything. And no woman is an island, as they say. No man is an island. I'd say no woman is an island. And so I think the other thing I would say is believing in yourself. So surrounding yourself with other women and then dive in and truly believe, I can do this. And I was asked to do it because someone believed in me, and I am going to do the best that I can. I'm going to make mistakes, but I really believe that I can do this, and I don't have to, as we've said often up here, you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, that's right.
You bring others along with you.
Yeah, I can give you an example. So preparation is my way to deal with that fear of failure. And I had a time when I was going in to argue a case, and the lawyer on the other side did not want to deal with me. And he constantly talked to the male partner on the case and basically sort of overlooked me. To his credit, that male partner was like, Shonn's handling this, she's got it, and he completely stepped out. Well, as much as I was happy to do that and ready to walk into it, I, of course, was very worried now because it felt like it was on my shoulders. And so I read everything I needed to read and got ready with all of the things for all of my arguments. And then I actually got into the courtroom and I realized that my preparation should have given me the confidence because I knew way more than this guy who was like not talking to me. And from that point forward, I was just like, you know what, preparation eats you all day long. So from that point forward, I was like, I will be ready.
Awesome. Very good. Well, I can't believe it, but y'all have shared some really incredible stories and advice today. And so as we think about wrapping up, we're going to do a little something like we call our just speed round of questions. So we're all going to answer them briefly. Okay, promise? Okay, so we can end on time. All right, so the first question is, what book would you give to someone as a gift, and why, if you have
Yeah,
one?
mine would be 107 Days by Kamala Harris, and listen to it on audio if you can. And the why is, even the people that supported her, I saw the gender bias and felt that in listening to her voice.
Good.
Mine's an old one, but a good one would be The Greatest Generation by Tom Brokaw, and it's about the World War II and the heroes of both men and women, the sacrifice they made for our freedom. And I think about what women can and have the ability to accomplish in our country today compared to other countries. I just hope that faith and that belief in freedom continues as we move forward.
Philanthropy Understood by Bob Hopkins. I just had the opportunity to speak to a group of people about philanthropy, and there's this misconception that philanthropy is only about money. But in reality, there's men and women in this book from all kinds of backgrounds, for all walks of life, and they talk about what makes them excited and get involved in the community, and that everyone in education, the art, whatever makes your heart beat can make a difference in the community. And this book involves a lot of people here in Dallas and Dallas County. So many of you, I'm sure, here in the audience are in that book. So I love the book, and I really recommend it.
I'm going to recommend an autobiography. It's I Am Malala, and it was written many years ago, 12 or 13 years ago, about the brave girl who was an advocate for education for girls in Afghanistan and was shot many times, survived 14 surgeries, and went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize for her work in educating for girls' education. That book can be true for women, girls, really anybody, because it shows the actual power of personal power and resilience in the fate of great adversity. It's wonderful.
Fantastic. Well, I see, folks, we're already adding it to our buy list, our add to cart. Thank you, ladies. And what is the best or worst advice you've ever been given? Either it's the best, it's so good you have to share it, or the worst, it's so bad you have to share it. So what do you got for us today?
So mine would be a conversation I had when I was changing jobs, and I was really excited because they recruited me and they really wanted me, and it felt so good. And my friend who I was talking to just looked at me and said, and what do you want out of this, and what do you bring to the table? And so I've approached every time I've had to make a transition with what do I want out of it, not what does someone set for me.
Well, I read one the other day, and I just thought it was so great. It said, make a decision. The streets are full of squirrels that are flat because they couldn't, and I thought that was a great one.
Connie.
But that's not the one, really. But I thought it was a great one, because it does make you think, I do need to make some decisions sometimes. But the one I would say is just enjoy the journey. We get so busy about wanting to reach the end that we forget to enjoy the path to get there.
Good.
Well, the worst advice I think now that I was given was, do not run for office, Elba. You are a woman, you're an immigrant, you're a Latina, and you have an accent. Really, do I have an accent? And, you know, and by the way, you should be cooking. And I remember thinking, I already won the cooking contest. I just need a new challenge. So let's run for city council. So.
I think the best advice I've gotten, many people have given me good advice, and I really appreciate it. Some very strong words from my father many years ago, and he was a very strong role model for me. Know your truth, know your values and beliefs, and when you have those convictions, have the courage to stand up for them and share them and make them work.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's a great note to end on. That may not have been the speediest round, but it was certainly the funniest. So thank you, ladies. So once again, thank you again for our Lifetime Achievement, our Lifetime Champion, our Women of Distinction honorees. It's just been a pleasure to be with all four of you today. Congratulations.